The Hegseth nomination is by no means secure. The Washington Post, I'm trying to keep track of where I read it, but I think it was WAPO today or yesterday, saying this is going to be Kavanaugh 2.0 and predicting it's actually going to be worse than Kavanaugh. A Republican was predicting this will be worse than Kavanaugh. The Democrats may indeed wind up calling this so-called victim, this alleged rape accuser who had an interlude with him in 2017 that she claims was non-consensual. He claims it was consensual. They signed an NDA and he was paying her off for her silence because he didn't want that coming out while he was at Fox. Now it's been declared void by Team Pete because she or her friends dropped the full story on Mar-a-Lago during the transition. And that was a breach of the agreement, which they believe released Pete from his obligations and the money's ended. And now she is free. She would have been free anyway. You can't deny a congressional subpoena based on an NDA. Anyway, now the question is, do the Democrats call her? And does she go in? And do the Democrats want to make this Kavanaugh 2.0, Mark? Or do they realize like this could backfire and this too could spin so out of control? Like Kavanaugh was an event for Republicans that was like a before and after moment where the party congealed in a way it hadn't before in Trump's presidency. So like that's a risky proposition for the Dems too.
Right. So I think you got to say, as you follow the narrative of the Hegseth nomination, that he and his team, including J.D. Vance, have done a textbook job, should be studied in political science courses, of putting the nomination back on track because it was basically going into a ditch and not coming out. He's now done what they needed to do, which is to get all the Republican senators to say, we're not coming out against him until January, if at all. We want to see a hearing. We want to give him a chance to defend himself. All the charges against him of seriousness, almost all of them, I should say, are anonymous. And I think senators recoil at that. And you've heard some of the senators, including Joni Ernst of Iowa, make reference to that. If the allegations become not anonymous, but someone testifies, and if questions about whether he's ready to run the building and sit in the sitting room, if those are put in sharp relief, I think there are some Republicans who might vote negatively towards him. The Hegseth nomination was driven, and the questions about him were driven by Democrats and what I call the Iron Triangle of Democrats, senators, the congressional staff, and the outside groups, along with their media allies. That isn't the case here. These doubts are amongst Republicans. Democrats have their doubts too, but they're meaningless because they're not going to vote for him. I think if there's no new revelations and he performs well, whether this person testifies or not, I don't think will stop him from being confirmed. But he has to perform well, and there have to be no new revelations. And I will tell you that even some of his allies are braced for more revelations.
I don't know, Dan, what this woman would sound like if she decided to testify. I think in interviewing her, somebody would probably be able to get a feel for whether she'd make a good witness or not. But there are so many holes in her story. I mean, I think this would shape up to be like more like Anita Hill than Christine Blasey Ford, where there's a lot to cross-examine her with. You know, like it would be ugly for her. I really think it would be ugly for her. That's not a threat. That's my assessment because I've read the police report, and his lawyer is already threatening her. Like, you can go. Of course, you can abide by a subpoena, but it doesn't relieve you of your obligations not to defame Pete Hegseth. And if you get out there and accuse him of rape, here I am, and you'll be sued. And I don't think this woman has a lot of money from what I hear. And I think she just lost her Pete Hegseth money. So, you know, we don't know whether we have a willing accuser, but do you think the Democrats will see the risk in calling such a person, given that police report?
Yeah, I mean, look, anytime somebody steps forward in a public nature to make an allegation as serious as she may potentially make, you have to brace yourself. I mean, you are entering the deep end of the pool. People will rebut it. People will question your character, your motives, everything. And as you say, in the Brett Kavanaugh instance, the testimony against him was pretty riveting. I mean, she stepped forward and made some very serious charges, and that nomination obviously was kind of teetering for a moment there. Look, I think if you're the Democrats, there are so many allegations against Hegseth, whether it's in this instance, the fiscal mismanagement, is he the right fit to lead the Pentagon during a time of two wars? It's one of the biggest bureaucracies. The procurement process is a mess, let alone the questions about DEI and other things that Trump would like him to focus on. I think you have an obligation to raise all of these issues in a respectful way. And I think, as Mark said, there are Republican senators for whom these are, individual allegations are also concerning. And so I think if you're the Democrats, you have to have a witness that's willing to cooperate and be comfortable putting her, or in some instances himself, out there, because you are going to get roughed up. That's not a Trump thing. That's just a political thing if you step forward.
That's true, even if what you're saying is true. And I believe in this case, what she's saying is a false accusation. So she's going to be especially hesitant. I mean, I really believe it was the husband who pushed her into making this allegation because he could not come to terms with the fact that his wife had gone down the hall and slept with Pete Hegseth while he was in the hotel room that she was supposed to be in with their kids. I want to correct myself. It was The Hill that had that article about Kavanaugh 2.0, dated today by Alexander Bolton, and saying that it was John Cornyn who said he told Hegseth it's going to be a miserable experience, sort of like Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing. And then it was Tom Tillis, Republican of North Carolina, who said he fears this battle could be worse than the brawl that erupted over Kavanaugh. Everything is going to be elevated. Quote, I think it's going to be Kavanaugh on steroids. Oh, joy. All right. So
Megyn, I
stand by.
think you may see a different witness or witnesses rather than that particular woman.
Oh, God. It sounds like Mark knows something. There's a tease. For those of us who have been holding our breath for the past several months, we can finally exhale in the wake of this presidential election, right? Work can finally be done on the major issues that this country's facing, and one of the most significant is our national debt. Look, the fact is our nation's broke, and that debt is a house of cards that cannot be quickly dismantled by anyone. So the strategy remains the same when it comes to your investments. You might want to diversify your savings. Virtually all the experts say that's a good idea. This is why I want to tell you about Birch Gold. So many things are out of our control and out of our president's control that it really can be important to have a safe haven for your savings. Birch Gold Group can help you if you would like to convert all or part of an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold, which is like a hedging of the bets. And the best news is it does not cost you 1 cent out of pocket. You just text MK to 989898 and you get your free info kit. And plus right now you will receive a free 1-ounce Silver Eagle for every $5,000 purchased Silver Eagle coin. Protect your savings with Birch Gold. Text MK to 989898 and claim your eligibility for free silver today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.